Welcome to the pilot episode of Kandid Konversation with Rudy Sutherland and Rudy Sutherland. I am your host for the show, Rudy Sutherland, and I am a serial entrepreneur by occupation and a small business advocate by passion. My partner for the show, who also doubles as my father, is a retired corporate executive and a small business owner in his own right, who just happens to also have very strong opinions about just about everything. As this is our pilot episode, let me tell you a little bit about our format. On a weekly basis, we will publish our show each Tuesday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. Each week, we will choose a topic or topics, as the case may be, that are political, social, or business related that we think might be of interest to you. Also, periodically, we will publish segments that we call the Small Business Skype Chronicles. Now, this is a lofty goal of mine, but I'd like to do at least one chronicle with every small business owner and entrepreneur I know. So if you are also entrepreneurs and or small business owners, and you have Skype, which I believe everybody at this point in time does, I'd like to record a segment on your business and discuss your thoughts on business in general, to publish on our Kandid Konversation channel for posterity. And as most of you know, most of the firms that I work with are government contractors, and fall is the time, which is this time of year, that we generally let our hair down. This year I want to have some fun and not just keep these conversations and all this intellectual capital that I'm exposed to myself. So if you're interested, Facebook or LinkedIn inbox me, and we'll see if we can get it in. Okay, so today's topic is going to be the cost of delaying infrastructure repairs in America. And this is an issue that has relevance not only to small businesses and the opportunities that it would afford small businesses, but also the jobs it would create, not to mention the fact that this could represent a significant investment of our tax dollars in something that we, the American public, actually benefit from. So we're going to take a deep dive into that. But I first want to thank our primary sponsor, my firm, Boston Warwick. And a little bit about us. What we do is we assist small and mid-cap businesses with legal, tax, and financial challenges. And we do all of that very discreetly. You can Google Boston Warwick or go to boston-warwick.com and find out what we do in more specific terms. Now, also I want to give you guys a heads up on our next week's guest, the inaugural show. Will Adams is going to be our guest. And he is a part of Radio Joe's amazing sound productions. Their website is radiojoe, all one word, .net. And they are a full-service audio production facility. Their clients include UPS, KFC, Smith & Wesson, M&P, Ford, the Discovery Channel, and the U.S. Army. And they've been doing what they do for for more than 26 years. Or they are located in Louisville, Kentucky. So here's a small business that's been around for a while, and I'm excited about that show. So make sure that you dial in or listen in, as the case may be, when we do that. Now, that said, now that we've gotten all that business out of the way, let's take a deep dive into this whole issue around infrastructure. And my partner here, Rudy Sutherland. Pops, I want you to tell us what your thoughts are on infrastructure and what concerns you have about the fact that basically nothing has happened despite all of the rhetoric.
Well, basically my thoughts are this. Because of the lack of the infrastructure that we see now has degraded not only the country, but has degraded our reputation.
Mm-hmm.
Our structures are crumbling. We're not getting much for our tax dollar. I mean, most of us pays taxes we don't have nothing to show for it.
Mm-hmm.
You walk in your neighborhood or around your neighborhood and you see it. It's not like you have to read it in the paper or look in a magazine. All you have to do is walk down the street.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, I think one of the big problems that me and my partner is going to delve into is why the infrastructure is not being taken care of, and why don't they want to, the politicians want to bring jobs, which is what we need.
Well, let me interject here, and kind of, I want to get into the political breakdown here because you are, and for our listeners, uh, you are a proud Democrat, right? You have been a member of the Democratic Party your entire life. Is that a safe statement to make?
I can't say that.
Okay, because
Uh,
this is going to give the context, I think, for um, the some of the reasons that I think this whole situation is occurring, and the fact that there's a bottleneck on anything being done, despite all the benefits that we know, which we'll get into. But let me ask you this: so you have been, by way of political background, you have been a Democrat. Is it safe to say the majority of your life?
the majority of my life, yes.
And you are a staunch supporter of this current administration, the Obama administration, yes?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and you support it. And just to give our listeners and viewers more context, you have supported both the election of President Obama, the first term, second term, in a very intimate manner, yes?
Yes.
Okay, so my question to you is this. This is my take. Now, of course, everyone that's listening and knows me knows that I'm a political independent, and I really don't have a commitment to either party or even the second or third tier parties. I'm mainly interested in the agenda of the politicians themselves. Now, that said, here's what we know. Okay, this administration, President Obama's administration, put forth the mantra to jumpstart the economy with, I think it was shovel-ready projects and all of that good stuff. And then what we came to, and I think they allocated, and this was back in 2009. It was the stimulus package. It was like $800 billion that Congress had funded, right? That stimulus bill.
The official one was 1.4 trillion.
1.4. Right. Okay. So here we got, bottom line, a lot of money allocated to these quote unquote shovel ready projects that never materialized. So now let's jumpstart this to 5-6 years later, and from what I understand, roughly 30 billion of that 1.4 trillion, 800 billion, whatever it was at that time, has been spent. And a large part of the reason why so little has been spent is because of the fact that Congress, on the Democratic side, Democrats love red tape. They have created the equivalent, I think, of a bowl of spaghetti in red tape to get approval for projects. For instance, I think there was a project in Newark, New Jersey, right? The Bayonne Bridge that required 47 permits, approval by 19 agencies, and had a 5,000-page environmental assessment that needed to take place in order for it to get off the ground. Now, that process started, I believe, before the stimulus package was introduced back in 2003, and it only got going 12 years later in 2012. And that's only one example. So you got, on the one hand, the Democrats who love red tape because it creates jobs. It creates government jobs. Then you have the Republicans on the other side of the equation that basically say, for some reason, it would be better for us to not do anything. We don't need to spend that money on infrastructure, which it boggles the mind because we know that those projects represent government contracts for small business contractors. It represents jobs for many individuals in just about every city in the country that don't have jobs right now. And it also represents an investment in our in the American balance sheet. I mean, we start businesses with the intent to invest in assets that don't depreciate very quickly, that give us the ability to generate wealth. There is no mechanism that has done more for every business in America and every individual. So in the realm of traveling than our infrastructure, than our roadways, our highways. That whole ecosystem for travel has facilitated just about every business doing what it does efficiently today. But it's costing us now because of the deterioration in various industries, particularly those that ship, the trucking and all of that good stuff. I mean, you can't drive down a freeway without seeing, tires spewed all over here and there, the treads torn off and that type of thing, which from a practical standpoint only occurs because these trucks are going over potholes, every 1 or 2 miles. So the bottom line is that this is a congressional issue. And my question to you is, and that was a long-winded statement that I just made.
Yes, it was.
Okay. My question to you is, what are your thoughts in regards to the president that you supported, his administration, getting in office, and the lack of, or the inaction, the lack of action or inaction on the part of the administration to even reintroduce this to the conversation? That's my first question. So I want your take on the Obama administration's role in all of this. But then, secondly, I'm not hearing in the current dialogues of Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders on the Democratic side, and certainly not on the Republican side, anything in regards to this one action, this one investment that would do so much for our economy. So what's your take on this?
Okay, let me start. First of all, you missed 2 spots where the infrastructure you didn't even mention, and that is as far as our airports and air travel, our software, our technology is behind the times. Trains, our train tracks, the infrastructure to how we are mobile has completely died. And the reason I can give you, from my estimation and looking at everything, is first of all, we have the first black president that the establishment, and it's not just Republicans, not just conservatives, it is some Democrats that has problems with this administration succeeding.
So you're saying that you're saying that you believe that these individuals, that the fact that President Obama is black would be reason enough for
No, just saying that's one reason.
One reason. And how significant?
I'm getting to the rest of it.
Okay, let me ask you this. Let's take it. I want to segue into that because I hear this a lot. It's like every time we talk about what the Obama administration has not accomplished or is not accomplishing, the first thing that's pointed to is the fact that he's black, and because of that, and because of the importance to not allow him to be a success, the commitment by certain individuals to not let him become a successful president, that these things, this infrastructure investment, and perhaps other things, but that these individuals would go that far to cut their nose effectively off, despite their collective face.
Yeah, and what you don't seem to grasp is this, okay? They're willing to let the country be trashed and trash the administration so much that it causes a lot of these problems that we have when it comes down to public opinion. When Obama initially won the presidency, McConnell, first thing come out of his mouth was, we're going to make sure that he's only a one-term president.
Okay.
That was hold on.
Wait a minute. Hold up.
This is one thing.
Okay.
I mean, and I'm gonna go down the list.
But I'm saying, wait a minute. I don't want to listen. I don't want this to turn into a defense. What I'm saying, here's what I want to hear from you is, here's what I'm not seeing though. At the same time that those things are happening, we know the definition of how much reluctance there is and has been by a large faction of the country to wrap their minds around the fact that we have a black president. Now, that's there. That's a given. It's there. But here's some of the things, and that's something that President Obama can't control. But here's what he can control. He's got the bully pulpit. He has the ability to do something that most other politicians can't do. He can get on the television screen at any time and bring up a topic like every other president before him has done to drive awareness into the American public about what he's trying to do to help us. However, what I'm saying to you is, despite all of those things that you just pointed out, what is he doing that's within his control to drive this conversation? And what I'm saying to you is, I don't see it.
Well, the only thing that he has is executive actions. That is all he has. Because if you look at it, if you look at the way this country portrays politicians, the way the country reports what's going on in this country, is so cloudy.
Pops, he gets on. Look, if he gets on TV, if he gets on television, and he says to the American public, "Listen, I am asking Congress to cut the red tape, to get these projects out there, to create jobs, to help small businesses, but I need you, the American public, to contact your congressional representatives in the House and the Senate and let them know that you want this to go forward." He can easily make that statement.
But you don't seem to understand.
What don't I understand?
You don't seem to understand that fact that President Obama has been on television more than any president I have ever seen.
Okay.
And has talked about all of these things.
No.
There are TV stations, there are publications, and all of them distort.
All of them?
Just about all of them.
See,
I told you in my presentation that you have Democrats that do not want him to succeed. And I'm gonna tell you
that. But I'm saying, but there's things he can do to help himself, Pops. That's what I'm saying. There's things that he can do to help himself that he's not doing. And I want to know why. Don't you?
I will tell you this. I have never seen any president that tried to do so much for so many and not have anything to show for half of it. Because I mean, this is the climate we're in. We're in a climate where to be black or Hispanic or Asian American or a woman, to where we don't have any, how shall I say it, power structure to deal with how this system is. And it's been this way since day one of the Constitution. And what I'm saying to you is this, okay? And I know you think that this president hasn't done very much, but he has really tried. The biggest problem that he's always had is the fact that people in his own party has fought him tooth and nail, as well as conservatives. And
but we knew that was going to be par for the course when he got elected.
But look at all these high expectations.
Well, no, listen. My thought is this: if you do, I'm looking at the actions. I'm not looking
with what he has accomplished.
Well, my question to you is, again, I'm talking about. Listen. Here's what President Obama has said: he's committed to improving the economy. Yes, he said that he's committed to lowering the unemployment rate in America. Yes, he's even stated on occasion, verbally, that he supports small businesses. Now, here is the infrastructure project, that whole stimulus package. That money, if allocated according to its mandate, would do all three of those things. And despite that, the primary focus for this administration has been Obamacare, right? The Affordable Care Act, as a primary core initiative in action. And everything else has just been lip service. And all I'm saying is this: I realize and I understand he has a huge hurdle to overcome with everything that you spoke about. I'm not denying that, but I am asking and want to understand why it is that, given technology being what it is, his ability to go on he's got a radio show, he does a weekly show, he has so many venues that he can communicate his initiatives. Yet if you go through them, which I have, if you go through them, you will see a very sparse string of dialogues about about our infrastructure.
But see, when you start talking about that, you often forget that the states that he has tried to do some of these jobs, they have blocked everything that he's tried to do.
So you're saying that there's states that's going to say we don't want that money
at the state level.
So you're saying. Let me rephrase what I just thought I heard you say. You're saying, now we're not talking about how states push back on the web portal Obamacare thing. We're talking about money. We're talking about monies to improve your infrastructure. You honestly believe that there is a state in the union that is going to tell the federal government, no, we don't want stimulus money?
Let me ask you the question.
Go ahead.
Okay?
Okay.
The politicians in each state, do you really think that they do what their constituents think they should be doing? No, they don't do it. They're sitting up there holding back jobs left and right. Look at New Jersey. They've had one up there forever, and the governor won't even let them start the job. Let me tell you something about state rights. Something tells me that you need to read a little bit about state rights, baby, because there is a big problem there. There's no problem in Illinois. Chicago, they're building like crazy. Downtown Chicago looks like New York now. There's no problem in several states, but in some states,
Like,
I mean, Texas,
okay.
they have blocked everything.
Just
They
so
have blocked.
you're saying they blocked
They have
just to
just
make this
about blocked
president,
everything.
just to make
We've
President
had
Obama
some of
look
the
bad.
dumbest governors and some of the most far right politicians I ever seen in my life.
Okay.
I mean, uh, the problem is this. Okay.
Okay.
The problem is this,
Okay.
and especially about when we start talking about infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
Most of these states has prevented it from happening now, and they're putting all their tables for 2016.
So you're saying that your thesis is that that the politicians out here are saying, okay, we're going to do it. We're just not going to let it happen on his watch because we don't want him
That's
to get
right.
any credit.
That's
your
right.
contention. Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
Because let me go down the rundown for you.
Okay.
Let me go down the rundown for you. Why do you think all these voting laws are coming up? They know that they don't have enough white men to elect a Republican president. They know they don't have it. So they're going to rig it just like when they brought Bush. Bush won 2 elections that were so close that, I mean, you'll never see it again in life.
But let me ask you this. We run out of time. Okay, we're running low. Wait, I need to ask you this question because we're running. Let me ask you this. Go ahead. All right, go ahead. My bad. Go ahead.
Please.
Okay.
Because let me put it this way. In my lifetime coming up and everything, and every time, whether it be Democrat or Republican, there's always been this undercurrent in politics that says we do not want certain people to be successful. We want their money, but we don't want them to be successful. Okay. And this has been the undercurrent since I've been able to reason. And I see right now, here in the 21st century, they have went all the way back to the 19th century when it comes down to politics and how they want to establish Washington. Because what you do is, first of all, when you want to do all these things and you want to control, you have to go to the state level first. You have to get all of the politicians in the state to be able to do what you want them to do. Then you go to Washington, okay, and then you get the people in there that you want. And I know it sounds like a conspiracy, but it's really not. It is how this country.
You're saying it's systemic. You're saying it's a systemic framework. I'm just trying to synopsize because
yes, it is.
I know you. I hear what I see where your mind is trying to go. But my question to you is this: that being given, that being established, at the end of the day, you've got to figure out, right? You got to figure out what you can do, and we have always known, right? I mean, the way we as minorities in America have been able to become successful is by working creatively around those potholes and hurdles that have been placed in front of us. And what I'm saying to you is that I'm not president. I don't remotely want to oversimplify how difficult that position must be. But at the same time, I'm saying from a common sense standpoint, there are things, the things that I just mentioned earlier in the show, that the president could have done, his administration could be doing now, even as a lame duck president, that he's not doing. And my question is, as opposed to making these excuses for why he can't get things done. I'm asking the question, but in spite of that, what have you done, and what has been the result of you doing it? We talk about this all the time. We talk about the fact that there is no way to maintain accountability for politicians after they have run for office and when they're in the governance phase, right? They talk a whole bunch of stuff. They say what they're going to do. They blow a lot of smoke up our behinds. But at the end of the day, when the governance starts, it's like they've got collective amnesia.
Well, it's almost like you got amnesia. Because look what they've done with the Justice Department. I mean, look what they finally are doing that we have never had in this country. All of a sudden, places are changing where black people are not being, I don't want to use the F word, but that would be the good phrase, because now all of a sudden we have the technology and we have people that are changing the laws as well as the objectives of our justice departments. And you seem to stress all the things that he hasn't done and not seem to want to stress the things that he has done. He's tried to do a lot of things, and I'm not saying he's perfect because he wasn't a politician. Never been a politician.
Really?
That's right. And that's one of the biggest problems he has.
I thought he was.
That's one of the biggest problems he has.
Listen, maybe color me ignorant, right? But I thought, correct me if I'm wrong, okay? Here's a guy who was a community activist who moved strategically to Chicago so that he could have the route that he's had. Who's affiliated himself, biracial dude, who affiliated himself properly. The best city to come out of would have been Chicago because of the way the city is structured. Okay, and oh yeah, by the way, he's.
Are we grabbing for air?
Hold up. Look, all right. My thought is this. We can agree to disagree.
Okay.
I'd say he's a professional politician.
Define politician.
Okay. Well, all right. I tell you what. Here's the thing. Now, of course, this is our pilot episode, and I knew we were going to do it. I was hoping not, but we've gone a little bit over our 30-minute time frame. Right, we're a couple of minutes over. What I want to do is give you an opportunity to summarize, based on everything we said, your argument as to why the Obama administration should be let off the hook for not pushing harder or at all for these infrastructure projects.
And again, I'm not saying they ought to be taken off the hook, but the only problem I've always had is all these high expectations. I am truly happy what he has done, because he has done a lot for black people. A lot of us now are starting to move back into houses. We have medical, and we're not going under. I know so many people. No, listen to me. I know so many people that
11% plus
that don't understand how much Obamacare has helped the black community.
Okay.
And also, let me put it this way.
Okay.
My thing is, when I summarize what I'm saying is this. I don't think he did as much as he could have done, but I didn't have these high expectations. Because whenever you are the first of anything, you're going to get jail.
That I agree.
I'm going to tell you something.
I agree with that.
I think you have good points and everything, but I just think your expectations was a little high.
You know what? I can agree. You know what? I can honestly agree with that statement that perhaps it could be argued that my expectations in action or in deed. Now, remember, I'm not saying. Remember, I just want to clarify something. I'm not expecting that he can control what people do as a result of what he says. I'm saying, but at least introduce the conversation, and it's not there. Right now, he should be pushing for that's all I'm saying in the context of what this show is, this episode is supposed to be about. My contention is the president could have done and could do now more to get those infrastructure projects in play. But for the fact that he's focused on whatever it is that he's focused on, he's not. And I'm saying as a consequence of that, the real unemployment rate in the black community is above 11%. That's indisputable, regardless of how you stretch it. And that has to be addressed. That should be addressed. In the Hispanic community, I believe it's 9, a little bit above 9, and then in the white community, I believe it's somewhere around 5 or 6%. The real unemployment rate. But the bottom line is that, and small businesses, oh yeah, by the way, in many cases are suffering too. So all I'm saying is that this administration could have done and could be doing more to get that infrastructure.
Okay. Can I leave with this phrase?
Sure. Go ahead.
It could be worse.
Okay. All right. On that note, we're going to close this episode down. I want to thank you. Again, it's rough around the edges, but we'll get better as time goes on. I want to let our viewers know that again, next week you can expect to be published Tuesday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, our next episode. And what I do want to do is pose a question, and I want you guys, if you would, and it'll also be in the thread that this episode will be published to. But I want you to answer our question of the day, and we'll have this every week. And the following week we'll have the best response to it. We'll name you and read your response on the air. But our question of the day is this, and this is to our small business community. Why did you want to start your business initially, and what are the 3 primary factors that influenced that decision? Again, why did you want to start your business initially, and what are the 3 primary factors that influenced that decision? This question will be published to the thread for this show on I believe Facebook, LinkedIn, as well as our channel. And I want to encourage you all to subscribe to our channel. Well, you're gonna need to learn to turn that stuff off, man, if you're gonna keep doing this. But anyway, I want to encourage you guys to subscribe to our channel so that you are notified automatically when a new episode is uploaded. Okay, that's all I have for you today. Anything else you want to say, Pops, to our listeners on our pilot episode here?
Just stay tuned for the coming chapters.
All right. Well, listen, we're going to sign off, and so we'll see you next time. Thank you for tuning in to the Kandid Konversation with Rudy Sutherland and Rudy Sutherland. Take care.